"If you were to start chewing it," said Mr. Wonka, "then that is exactly what you would get on the menu. It's absolutely amazing, and you can actually feel the food going down your throat and into your tummy, and you can taste it perfectly, and it fills you up. It satisfies you. It's terrific." "It's utterly impossible," said Veruca Salt. "Just so long as it's gum," shouted Violet Beauregarde. "Just so long as it's a piece of gum and I can chew it, then that's for me." And quickly she took her own world record piece of chewing gum out of her mouth and stuck it behind her left ear. "Come on, Mr. Wonka," she said. "Hand over this magic gum of yours and we'll see if the thing works." "Now, Violet," said Mrs. Beauregard, her mother, "don't let's do anything silly, Violet. I want the gum," Violet said obstinately. "What's so silly?" "I would rather you didn't take it," said Mr. Wonka gently. "You see, I haven't got it quite right yet. There are still one or two things—" "Oh, to blazes with that!" said Violet, and suddenly, before Mr. Wonka could stop her, she shot out a fat hand and grabbed the stick of gum out of the little drawer and popped it into her mouth. At once, her huge, well-trained jaws started chewing away on it like a pair of tongues. "Don't!" said Mr. Wonka. "Fabulous!" shouted Violet. "It's tomato soup! It's hot and creamy and delicious! I can feel it running down my throat!" "Stop!" said Mr. Wonka. "The gum isn't ready yet. It's not right." "Of course it's right," said Violet. "It's working beautifully. Oh my, what lovely soup this is!" "Spit it out," said Mr. Wonka. "It's changing!" shouted Violet, chewing and grinning both at the same time. "The second course is coming up! It's roast beef! It's tender and juicy! Oh boy, what a flavor! The baked potato is marvelous too! It's got a crispy skin and it's all filled with butter inside!" "But how interesting, Violet," said Mrs. Beauregard. "You are a clever girl." "Keep chewing, baby," said Mr. Beauregard. "Keep right on chewing. This is a great day for the Beauregardes. Our little girl is the first person in the world to have a chewing gum meal." Everybody was watching Violet Beauregarde as she stood there chewing this extraordinary gum. Little Charlie Bucket was staring at her absolutely spellbound, watching her huge rubbery lips as they pressed and unpressed with the chewing, and Grandpa Joe stood beside him, gaping at the girl. Mr. Wonka was wringing his hands and saying, "No, no, 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 no. It isn't ready for eating. It isn't right. You mustn't do it." "Blueberry pie and cream!" shouted Violet. "Here it comes. Oh my, it's perfect. It's beautiful. It's exactly as though I'm swallowing it. It's as though I'm chewing and swallowing great big spoonfuls of the most marvelous blueberry pie in the world." "Good heavens, girl!" shrieked Mrs. Beauregard, suddenly staring at Violet. "What's happening to your nose?" "Oh, be quiet, Mother, and let me finish," said Violet. "It's turning blue!" screamed Mrs. Beauregard. "Your nose is turning blue as a blueberry." "Your mother is right," shouted Mr. Beauregard. "Your whole nose has gone purple." "What do you mean?" said Violet, still chewing away. "Your cheeks!" screamed Mrs. Beauregard. "They're turning blue as well. So is your chin. Your whole face is turning blue." "Spit that gum out at once," ordered Mr. Beauregard. "Mercy, save us!" yelled Mrs. Beauregard. "The girl is going blue and purple all over. Even her hair is changing color. Violet! You're turning violet, Violet! What is happening to you?" "I told you I hadn't got it quite right," sighed Mr. Wonka, shaking his head sadly. "I say you haven't!" cried Mrs. Beauregard. "Just look at the girl now!" Everybody was staring at Violet, and what a terrible, peculiar sight she was. Her face and hands and legs and neck, in fact, the skin all over her body, as well as her great big mop of curly hair, had turned a brilliant purplish blue, the color of blueberry juice. "It always goes wrong when we come to the dessert," sighed Mr. Wonka. "It's the blueberry pie that does it, but I'll get it right one day, you wait and see." "Violet!" screamed Mrs. Beauregard. "You're swelling up!" "I feel sick," Violet said. "You're swelling up!" screamed Mrs. Beauregard again. "I feel most peculiar," gasped Violet. "I'm not surprised," said Mr. Beauregard. "Great heavens, girl!" shrieked Mrs. Beauregard. "You're blowing up like a balloon!" like a blueberry, said Mr. Wonka. Call a doctor, shouted Mr. Beauregard. Prick her with a pin, said one of the other fathers. Save her, cried Mrs. Beauregard, wringing her hands. But there was no saving her now. Her body was swelling up and changing shape at such a rate that within a minute it had turned into nothing less than an enormous round blue ball, a gigantic blueberry in fact, and all that remained of Violet Beauregard herself was a tiny pair of legs and a tiny pair of arms sticking out of the great round fruit and a little head on top.